Hey everybody, welcome back to my channel. I got a comment on one of my videos asking what materials I tend to use on my paintings. So I thought that I would make a video about that. Today we're going to go over brushes, paper, and paint. First thing we'll talk about is brushes, and I made this little handy chart for you. Alright, so there's a bunch of different types of paintbrushes out there. I don't have them all, so today I am going to be talking about round brush, mop brush, also called an oval brush, flat brush, and detail brush. Okay, so this is a round brush. It's really good for a lot of things. I use it on every painting that I make. And I mean, it's good for washes, it's good for detail, but not like super fine detail. I use it all the time. That's my favorite brush. But there's also mop, and you know, you can tell from the name that it soaks up a lot of water. This is really good for washes, which is where you get a lot of water and just a little bit of paint. And here, I'll show you. Let's see. So I'm dipping my brush into the water, getting it pretty soaked, and then just getting a little bit of paint. And that's a wash. Very wet. And yeah, kind of all over the place. So there's the mop brush. And then we have flat brush. I never use a flat brush. This is the only one that I have, and I've never used it. But I mean, it looks a lot like the brushes that you see when, like, you see people painting outdoors, painting fences. But you know, it's a flat brush. It's fine. I don't use it though. And it makes this kind of line. And then there's a little bitty detail brush. I use this on all my paintings as well. They're really handy for stuff like eyes, when you're going in for like the really fine detail. But the round brush and the detail brush is the one that I use the most. And then there's the whole matter of brand. There's a whole bunch of different brands. They vary greatly in price. Right here, my brother-in-law gave me this and a couple of other ones by the same brand. And it's a really nice brush. This one is made of squirrel hair, and it's honestly one of my favorites, and I don't think it's one of the most expensive. So this is kind of a happy medium type. And let's see. It's not sitting here, but let me show you. Here is one of the more expensive ones. I got a set of, I think it was 6. And they're really nice. These are made of sable hair. And I got this on Amazon. I think all 6 of them were about $100. Yeah, I mean, it was expensive. It's not the most expensive though. I've seen sets of 6 to 8 go for $200, which is, I think it's crazy. But, you know, whatever floats your boat. The detail ones that I use, believe it or not, are about $1 a piece. I got them on Amazon. It was like 15 brushes for $15. So you would think that it would be a terrible brush, but it's actually not bad. I don't know what brand it is. It's like an off-brand paintbrush, but it works. Just got it on Amazon. I think I got all of these on Amazon, other than the one that my brother-in-law got me. Let's see. Amazon is a pretty good place to get brushes from. Just, make sure that the company you're buying from has good reviews and that the reviews are legit and that they're from reviewers that have been verified. But if you're kind of iffy on doing it from Amazon, you could always go to specific art websites like Jerry's Artorama or Dick Blick, or there's websites. Gosh, I think it's called Princeton. I think Princeton is a good one to go to. But yeah, I mean, just do your research. Make sure you get, if you're gonna get the really expensive stuff, make sure that it's actually the expensive stuff and not some knockoff. So I think that's all for brushes. Next, we will move on to paper. Okay, so now paper. So there's different types of paper that do different things. Okay, so there's cold press, and cold press is the most versatile and popular. It's pretty much the only one that I use, and pretty much the only one that I've noticed other artists use as well. And it's semi-rough, but it's also smooth enough that you can get good detail work from it. So it's kind of an overall nice paper. And then there's hot press. I've never actually used hot press before, but a lot of artists like to use it for really detailed work because it's really smooth. And then there's also rough. I honestly don't remember if I've done rough or not, but it's good for more, if you like to do a lot of washes or kind of more loose-based work. So that's the three, types of paper. I prefer cold press, but I suggest that you get one of each and just, try it out. Okay, and then we're gonna go over to weight. So watercolor paper goes by pounds, and I believe that the weight is determined by how much 500 sheets of the paper weighs. So the heavier the paper, the better. I mean, 90-pound paper is super thin. It's not great, but it's workable, I guess. I never use it. There's 140-pound, which I think is pretty standard for beginners, and where there's like notepads of watercolor paper. That's typically what I see in those notebooks. There's also 156-pound, 240, 300, and 400, and there might be other ones in between that I forgot, but that's mostly it. But let's see. So all of these need to be stretched, and I'll show you a video of how to do that if you guys want me to. But the paper that I really like to use is the 300 and 400 pound. They are extremely expensive, but I think that it's worth it. You don't have to stretch them. They take in a lot of water. They take in a lot of layers. They don't start shredding or anything. It's great, and I think it's well worth the price. And I mean, you save a lot of time not having to stretch it. So And then there's the way you can buy them. So watercolor paper can come in sheets. They're typically, I think they're 22 inches by 30 inches usually, but I'm sure you can get them in other sizes as well. And then there's rolls, which I prefer. I mean, it comes in, I think it's 5-yard rolls. And the length varies depending on, you know, what brand you use, but the one that I have currently is, I think it's 55 inches tall, so it's a lot of paper. I prefer that. And then there's blocks, which is where there's like sheets of watercolor paper on top of each other, and they are attached together, and you kind of peel them off after you're done with them. But I never really use blocks. I use a lot of sheets. I used a lot of sheets in college when I first started my beginning watercolor classes. But rolls are nice because you can choose whatever size you want. And then, you know, there's tons of paper, so you never, I mean, you run out eventually, but it takes a while for you to run out. I've had my roll of paper for probably 6 years, and I still have about half of it left, and I've done a ton of paintings, so I think it's well worth it. But the price of a roll is obviously really expensive, but I think it ends up being cheaper in the long run. It just doesn't feel like it at first. And then there's the brands that you got to deal with. I pretty much only use Arches paper, but I mean, I've used other brands like Strathmore. I've used Winsor Newton, but you know, I really like Arches. They make really nice cold press paper. They make 400 pound, 300 pound. I think they make all of those. I'm not sure if you can get rolls of 400 pound Arches, but you know. So that's it with the paper, I think. If you have any more questions on paper, if I forgot something, just let me know in the comments. All right, now on to the paint. Okay, so there's obviously a bunch of different brands, but the ones that I use, and I've only used these 2 brands the entire time I've ever painted with watercolor, and they are Cotman by Winsor & Newton, which is these. And these are really good basic paints, but I mean, the quality of them is really good for the price of what they are. They come in 8 milliliter tubes and 21 milliliter tubes. If you're buying them on Amazon, the 8 milliliter ones are going to be about $5. Sometimes they vary, but not too much. And then there's the 21 milliliters for roughly $10. And that's a pretty good price for watercolor paint. They might look really small, and they are, but something like this would typically last me for probably a year, I would say. And something like this would last me even longer, usually. apart from the white. The white is the one that I go through the most, and that's because I use it straight out of the tube. So I use it really fast. And I use the white to make tiny little details, and you need it to be pretty opaque for what I do. So that's why I use it straight out of the tube, because it's really hard to make white opaque after it's been dry. I'll go into more detail with that in a different video. But so I use Cotman for, you know, my basic colors like white, black, red, blue, yellow, all the primary and secondary types of colors. But then there's Daniel Smith, and I'm sure you looked over here already. Crazy pricey. But Daniel Smith, the cool thing about that is there's a ton of colors to pick from, including stuff like iridescent gold and silver, or, you know, something crazy like yellow green. But I mean, I think it's worth having. I'll show you what gold looks like. But I mean, the prices of these are much more expensive than Winsor & Newton, but the quality is really, really nice. And I don't know if you can, yeah, you can kind of see it. It's not as impressive, but I mean, I think it's absolutely gorgeous. Here, let me try taking it out of the, ooh, oh, look at that. Look at that. So pretty. Look how pretty that is. Oh my gosh. But yeah, that's good quality paint. And I mean, Daniel Smith makes tons of different colors. That he makes, the brand makes, like, I don't even know many colors. If you go on Amazon, you can see a lot of them, but I'm sure that he makes even more. I think that's about it. So, if you have any questions, comments, concerns, you know, if I didn't specify something enough, please post a comment, ask any questions you need. I can make more videos like this if you like it. I'm gonna make a video on how I paint things that are white next. And okay, I hope you guys have a great day, and I hope that this video helped you a little bit. I will see you next time.